We're back in club football for this new season of FM22 Mercenary, and we're at a big club in a big league, but we've taken on a big challenge. So we finally relinquished our post as Ivory Coast boss, and you may remember we turned down some other international management posts as well as some medium-sized clubs around Europe in search of a bigger challenge. I think we found it. Let's show you what went on whilst we were still in charge of the Ivory Coast and we were hunting for jobs. So in our search for a club in one of Europe's top leagues, we were really left with just two choices. First, we headed out to Barcelona. Now don't get too excited. We weren't taking over FC Barca. The interview we had was at Espanyol. They were in 8th place in the league when we attended that interview, but they eventually finished the season in 11th. But having already done a save not just in La Liga but in the city of Barcelona during FM20, we rejected their offer. Instead, we packed up our bags, we searched for more job opportunities, and we jumped on a plane that landed in Italy, and more specifically, in Genoa. But the interview we attended wasn't with the club that bears the city's name, but with former Scudetto winners Sampdoria. Samp have a long association with the English, from Trevor Francis to David Platt to Des Walker, Lee Sharp and Danny Dichio. And as recently as last season, Jesse Lingard was with the club. So during a period where the world's top managers all seem to be heading to Serie A, we signed a 1-year contract with Samp. This news knocked Guardiola off the front pages of the papers, but we're going to have a challenge on our hands as Samp only stayed up on goal difference last season, needing a win on the last day of the campaign in order to ensure survival. And the same target awaits us this season as we take on our Serie A challenge. So welcome in everybody. I think you will agree, given that Schalke were in Bundesliga 2 when we took over that club, this is our biggest appointment yet. Sampdoria give us the chance to compete against some of the top managers in the world, some of the greatest sides that have ever played the game. But this is going to be an incredibly tough season for us. Our squad is old, it is lacking in talent, and if we can keep our head above water and keep Sampdoria in Serie A this season, I think it's going to be a good achievement. Wipe from your mind any ideas of pushing for an unlikely Scudetto. That really is not our mission at Sampdoria. It is survival. It's lower mid-table. If it's upper mid-table, it's been a great campaign and it's going to be a very difficult start. We're going to kick things off in today's episode with a home tie against Lazio. That's going to be difficult in itself, but we follow that up with the derby against Genoa so early in the season before games against Juventus and then Internazionale before we have a slightly more forgiving spell against Bologna, Benevento, Cremonese and Cagliari before things hot up again and we've got Fiorentina, Roma and Milan all on the horizon. This is going to be an incredibly difficult challenge. You'll see the scale of it when we introduce you to our squad. So of all the new clubs we've pitched up at, I think this has been the hardest one to try and design a workable tactic around. We've had a reasonable off-season, not spectacular, and I think some of our players are going to be up against it, against Serie A opposition this season. In fact, I don't think our squad is any stronger than Schalke's were when we arrived there, or maybe even Cluj's when we were competing in Romania. So let's take you through some of our players and you can judge for yourselves which ones you think might be up to Serie A standard this season. Starting in goal, where we will be playing the Swede Pontus Dahlberg, who's just been at the World Cup with Sweden. He's only 31 years old. He's got 65 international caps. He's good at one-on-ones. His aerial reach is good and he's 6'4" as well. His jumping reach and agility are both pretty strong. I think as a keeper, he is up to the standard that we require. Elsewhere in the defence, I'm going to let you make your own minds up. Let's go for our right back first of all. This is Samuel Brindelli. He is 31 years old and has the physicals to show for it. Not that quick, not that strong, not really the best balanced for a fullback either. His tackling is pretty mediocre, although if he bombs forward, he can at least put in a good cross. Is he going to be strong enough to help us avoid relegation? The jury's out. At left back, I think we've got better options. This is the Bard, Melvin Bard, who is a Frenchman, 29 years old, branded as an attacking fullback, much quicker this time. In fact, those physical attributes are better across the board. He can tackle better, his passing and vision is stronger, his crossing and dribbling are reasonable. At centre half, okay, now we're going to be testing you a little bit. This is Giacomo Moro, who trains part-time with us. The rest of the time, he makes plus-size male clothing. He's got pace of 15, which is good. He's got some strong mental areas to his game, like the determination, concentration, very pleasing, bravery, and aggression. It's on the technical side where the 21-year-old might be a little bit lacking. Certainly the heading and the marking could be a little bit stronger. The positioning is a little bit suspect. At 14, hopefully the tackling will be good enough. He's only 6'1", so he's not a huge aerial presence. Fortunately, alongside him, Modibo Sanyan is a little bit stronger in the air, an inch taller, jumping reach of 16, looks pretty dominant with that strength, will run all day with that stamina, tackles very well. I'm hoping Modibo will be able to nurse his younger counterpart through some of these tougher games. It's in central midfield, however, where I think we've got the greatest difficulties. We only really have one central midfielder that is of any standard whatsoever, and that is Morten Torsby, who is 34 years old now, and at that vintage, I'm going to say we're mighty pleased with these physical attributes. Great stamina, strength, natural fitness, good in the air as well. A model professional, so a good influence on the squad. A tenacious midfielder who is probably naturally a ball-winning midfielder. We're going to ask him to be a little bit more extravagant than that and play as a box-to-box midfielder. We didn't really have anybody that could play alongside him. So instead, we're going to improvise. We're going to play a defensive midfielder and an attacking midfielder offset from each other to try and make a midfield three. At the base of it, who's going to be 33-year-old Jerry St. Just. Realistically, he's a defender, a centre-back or a right-back in his younger days, but he's going to play just in front of our back four for us. Does he have the areas of his game to justify a midfield berth? Maybe. The passing is 13, the vision is 12. He should get stuck in with that tackling, although you're going to have to be careful because he does like to dive into those challenges. But he is going to be an important player for us, and if he can step into this midfield role, we might stand half a chance. Elsewhere in the centre of midfield, we at least have some youth. This is fair. Just fair. He can't play in central midfield really, so we've moved him further forward. He's a 20-year-old Spaniard. He's a left footer. He likes to try the killer balls. He likes to switch the ball around to other areas of the pitch. His passing and vision, teamwork, flair, aggression, natural fitness are all very pleasing. The strength is a little suspect. Some of these other technical attributes are also a little low as well. I don't think he really has the technical game to go and play in that central area, given his tackling, his anticipation, his positioning. So hopefully, as a more advanced player, he might be able to be an attacking threat for us. And then out wide, well, out wide, we're going veterans again, I'm afraid. We're going to play Jesper Karlsson, another Swede, 32 years old again. I think we're lucky with the physicals, given his age. The pace is 14, the acceleration is 13. How long we can hold them at that level, I'm not sure. The balance is not great, though. The strength is not great. The flair is good. Otherwise, we're asking Jesper Karlsson pretty much to just try and hold up an end. I'm not sure he's going to be able to get up and down the pitch too much. Pretty good at the set pieces, though, so he might be useful there. And then over on the left, we have an Italian. This is Emmanuel Vignato, who has got great flair and great first touch and great vision. Not an awful lot else, I'm afraid. He's not a flying winger. I'm not even sure he'd work hard enough to be a wide midfielder. We could play him as an inverted winger, but we've got pace of 13. So instead, I'm going to try and utilise him as a wide playmaker. And he's right-footed, so I'm hoping he can move inside, try and play some nice through balls, try and link up with Torsby and Fair. Maybe just create a goal or two for us. But I'm gonna warn you now, goals in this team are not obvious where they're going to come from. The man that scored the winning goal on the last game of the season to keep Sampdoria in Serie A was Michael. He's a Brazilian, another veteran, 31 years old, another decent all-rounder, but without any real standout areas to his game. Decent-ish finisher, decent-ish first touch. The work rate is okay, the composure is okay, the off the ball is reasonably good. Physically, I don't know whether there's too much there that's going to frighten the strongest defences in this division, but there is a little bit of know-how, there is a little bit of nous. He scored 10 goals last season, which was one of the main reasons why Samp were able to survive. Before that, he has scored more goals. If we could get 12 out of him like he's done in some of his previous campaigns, I reckon that's going to be as good a return as we can possibly hope for. On the bench, there's plenty more veterans, there's plenty more want-away players as well, but there's not a lot of youth, vigour and vitality that we can bring into this side. And today, we're going to be taking on a Lazio side, who are one of the favourites for the title. Let's show you what they've got to offer in today's Scout Report.
Today we welcome one of Rome's big two in the form of Lazio, a club that finished 4th last season and is touted to do the same this. Led by experienced boss Marco Silva, they can call on the likes of Donny van der Beek, Matteo Guendouzi and former Arsenal defender Gabriel. This is going to be the toughest of starts to our Italian campaign as Sampdoria take on Lazio.
So if my maths is correct, this is season 10 of our Mercenary Journeyman career, and I don't think we've had a season so far where we've really been up against it. Going back to season 2, when we were at Peronia, we finished in the relegation group of that league table when it split towards the end, but we stormed that relegation group and even qualified for a European playoff, which we went on to qualify for. I don't think we've really had a relegation scrap as of yet. Strap yourselves in, everybody. I think this is going to be that season, but if we can survive it, if we could even overachieve and get into mid-table, you never know, bigger clubs might come a-calling next summer. But we've already had a very fragile start to this game as Lazio have one cleared off the line. And from a set piece, they're going to try and punish us now. We're only 5 minutes into the game. This is a bit of a worrying start. It's like the Llama as they are already firing efforts over the bar. So 23 minutes into this match, Lazio are coming forward once again. We've had a couple of shots. Neither of them have been on target, but neither have Lazio so far. So we are settling into the game, but our opponents are coming at us once more. They've got Guendouzi, who plays the ball to Rodriguez. They seem to have a lot of space around the pitch, and I think that's a good enough opportunity so that our visitors should already be in the lead. So you can see from the match stats, we've not had a great first half. We've got an XG of 0.08. We've only had 2 shots that came in quick succession. Neither of them have tested the Lazio keeper, and we've clung on to get to half-time 0-0 with a decent team from Rome, but I think we're going to need a much better second half if we're going to take a point or even an opening day victory from this game. So we've got some poor performances out there. A 6.3 from our right back. We've got some 6.4s from players as well, including Fair, who I was hoping might be a creative and attacking force playing in the number 10 slot. I don't know whether he's going to be at all. However, Felix Afena-Jan has just been sent off. That might help us a little bit. So we've made 2 changes and had a bit of a rejig. St Just is going to go to right back, and we've brought on a midfielder called Giancarlo Ghirlanda, who I don't think is really good enough for this level of football, but he's 21 and a professional personality. He might improve with game time, and we're going to push up to a 4-4-2 now. We've taken off Fair. Very poor afternoon for him. And we've brought on an ageing Neil Mopai, who still knows where the back of the net is. Other than that, I don't know whether he's going to be able to chase past any opponents, but we've got 25 minutes left. Let's see whether these subs can force us a goal that might get us a win that I wasn't accounting for on the opening day. Mikel has managed to win the ball, and he's fed it to Mopai, and he's dinked a little effort over the keeper. That highlight has just come out of nowhere. And maybe Neil Maupay might have more of a role to play this season than I initially thought, as he's finished that one well. Has he combined with his strike partner? I think he has. Mikel took that ball well, and Maupay has dinked a beautiful little effort over the keeper. If we could cling on for 3 points here, this will be a dream opening day. We have just a few more minutes to hold on. I don't mind if this only finishes 1-0 and we needed the opposition to be reduced to 10 men in order to get it. I think this could be a season where every 3 points could be vital. And I guess on the balance of play there, you'd probably say we deserve that result. So that's a pretty solid start, but now we've got that tough run of games. Who knows what kind of state we'll be in when you join us next. Whilst we go and work with the players on the training ground, why don't you check out this video next and find out whatever happened to Wonder Kid Freddie Adu and what happens when we give him one more chance to try and achieve greatness.